Not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From PG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall. Delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you're not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am. Through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. CWall and we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports update, and I am your host, CWall. As always, it is a pleasure to be in the building and be able to share all of the highlights of what is happening in DMV sports. Okay? So listen, definitely, we got a lot to discuss. We got an absolute lot to discuss. So you definitely want to make sure you are engaging and checking in your fellow Wizards fans and your fellow Commanders fans. Okay? The Commanders fans and the Wizards fans absolutely need to be all the way checked in. Make sure you are sharing the show with those folks because it is important. Very important, because we got a lot to discuss. From a Wizards perspective, what we have to discuss is Brad had about a 30-minute media availability today. And so I want to share with you all some of the highlights from that media availability, some of the key takeaways, some of the things you really need to be thinking about as we talk about Brad and his future with the Washington Wizards. And then the Commanders, I mean, we got everything. I got everything. So we have to definitely talk. Has everybody hit the love button and checked in? I think I've seen Damon and DJ and Cameron checked in. Make sure you say what's up to the CWall team that has checked in. Mazdak is on. And have you all said hello to my Mama Waller? Because that's absolutely imperative that you all say hello to her, okay? And have checked in. As I see, folks have already mentioned, and we're getting the energy levels up, folks. There's a lot going on. But technically, this is the 5th anniversary show. I said I was going to do it before the actual anniversary. The actual date of the CWall Sports and Entertainment anniversary is March the 6th, which is this Sunday. And I'm excited. I had to take a pause for a minute and reflect and say, okay, now that I got my mind right and understand what's going on and what's happening and what year it is and where we are, I think I'm ready. I'm ready for Sunday. Ready for Sunday. And oh, by the way, if you've purchased a ticket, guess what? Perhaps the guest of honor won't even be me because Mama Waller will be there. She'll be there for sure. And my father will also be there. I said, I think they're more popular than I am. So, and that's okay. I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset about that at all. So listen, really quick, The Caps are playing right now. They're taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. So we'll be updating and mentioning some things there as well regarding the Washington Capitals. Earlier this week, General Manager Brian McClellan did speak with the media a couple weeks ahead of the National Hockey League trade deadline. So their trade deadline is Monday, March 21st. So that is absolutely something that we're going to be tracking. So more to come there. More to come there. But Wizards fans, check in. Where are you? Where are you? I saw that many folks have already been talking about Brad's comment regarding whether or not he was going to come back. Is it fair to say he's coming back or he would resign? And he said that it's fair. But for me, that was not the key takeaway. I had a lot of key takeaways. So let's get into what those are. And I see John Adams is checked in for certain. Here's one thing, and we're going to spend some time here. And I'm going to do a quick time check because I want to make sure we get through this and absolutely get into Commanders as well, because that's very, very important. And hey, listen, because it's kind of the anniversary show, you know, I like to do videos and pictures and all those things. And I said, you know what? We're going to take this back. I hate to say old school, but I guess it's a little old school. And it's old school in the way that at one point, especially when we were pivoting and still getting used to all the technology, I used to get on here and just give you the sports news without any video content. We used to come on here and we used to just talk and share. And so that's what I'm going to do tonight. Initially, I had this whole grandiose idea. I'm bringing all the clips and all the videos. And I said, you know what? We're going to take it back to how we've been doing this. And we're just sharing the news. We'll get into all of that other stuff later, but I got a lot to talk about. Seriously. So I see it. Everybody make sure you say what's up to Joy as she has checked in as well. All right. Wizards availability with Bradley Beal today. Again, it was about 30 minutes. So here's where I want to start with this. I can be a tough critic. Y'all know this. I can be tough. But it's important to me to always remain objective. It's always important. I encourage fans to be objective as well. But that is a part of my job of being objective. And I had started to see on social media where fans were saying that Brad wasn't around or they wanted to see more of Brad. And I was kind of like, I don't understand what that means because, of course, I mean, Brad, he's hurt. But let's be clear about something. Brad is always around. And check in. I want you to drop in the chat as I'm sharing this to see if you heard the entire media availability. And it's fine if you didn't, because I'm going to give you all of the highlights. Okay? But I want to know if you heard the entire 30 minutes. Because that's very important from a context scenario and situation, okay? So first things first, I'm talking about the entire thing. Brad is always around, folks. And he tells you that. And today he was he's not quiet about it. And when I say he's always around, he mentions being in film rooms. He mentions the conversations he's having with the players. He's at every single game. And he's talking business. I mean, he's there and he's absolutely watching and he's paying attention to everything that's going on. So dispel any rumors, myths, thoughts that Brad isn't around and that he's not playing a major role in what's happening with the Washington Wizards. Okay, I want to be very clear on that. He's around all the time. Okay, So that's one of the things I wanted to mention. Another thing I wanted to mention, of course, he gave an update with his injury and how all of that is going. So Brad is in a cast, he said, for about another 7 weeks. Then it's like another 3 weeks out of the cast and doing some strengthening, some rehabilitation, things of that nature. He mentioned the word frustrated quite a few times in the earlier media availability, sharing that he's frustrated. There's so many more games left. And it just feels like the season is incomplete because the team, and he mentioned this, the team is still within reach. He thinks the team can still make a run at it and can absolutely still make the playoffs without having to do a play-in. He feels strongly about that and says that out loud, and says he shares it with his teammates, he shares it with his coaches. That's what he thinks. The team as it stands right now can absolutely do that. So that was interesting to hear his perspective on that when he was sharing with the media. I had to kind of laugh and smirk when he said this. There was definitely some excitement around Porzingis and what he could bring, and he was talking about his height, and he made a comment about Porzingis being 7'4", and I was like, he is not 7'4". Online, it says that he's 7'6", and I believe the internet in this regard because he's a very tall person. Very tall person. But anyway, he mentioned his height, and also you could sense some excitement from Brad in regard to Porzingis' height compared to also Gafford. He mentioned specifically Daniel Gafford's height, mentioned Kyle Kuzma's height. Kuz is tall. Again, Brad said Kuz was 6'9". I was like, well, I think Kuz is 6'10". But hey, at any rate, he's tall people, very tall people. So I thought that was interesting that he was just sharing that level of excitement on that. He mentioned the confidence of Rui and Denny. Said he's enjoying watching them grow and get more confident. And he just enjoyed it. And he's enjoying watching them. Definitely talked a lot about Rui when asked about just his talent. And we've heard this consistently about Rui's talent. I actually want to bring up, even last season, Russell Westbrook was extremely complimentary of Rui in a lot of instances. So I think this team is still waiting for that wow factor with Rui to truly hit, because they all see it and they all sense it. So a lot of positive feedback from Brad on Rui's growth and his potential, Denny as well. He had a lot of positive things to say about Corey Kispert. Okay, a lot of positive things to say about Corey Kispert. He called Corey a mature rookie and said, not like me when I came into the league. That's Brad saying. He wasn't like, not like me when I came into the league. So I thought that was good. And I can see some of that maturity that Brad is speaking of when it comes to Corey Kispert. I like the energy in which he was sharing about Corey, Rui, and Denny. When asked about Coach Unseld, he definitely said, Coach Unseld, he's been in the league for a long time, but this is different when you are in the driver's seat. So he definitely was very complimentary of Coach Wes Unseld Jr. and how he's handled all of the adversity that he has faced in this first year. We even gotten through a first season. One thing that Brad mentioned, and I can definitely also agree with this based on my conversations with Coach Unseld Jr., is that he communicates at a high level. He's an excellent communicator. And let me also say, now I'm going to bring up an old word because y'all know I got to bring up an old name. I know y'all going to get me for this, but I would put him on the list from a communication standpoint, excellent communicator. Remember, years ago, I used to tell you all, Alex Smith was an extremely could communicate, he could resonate with whom he was speaking with. And being an effective communicator and being able to resonate and reach whom you are speaking to in a way that changes behavior is extraordinary. It is an extraordinary skill set to have. And Coach Unseld Jr., I believe, has that, but he's still kind of getting, he's still trying to get used to the players. And there has been a lot of shift and changing with the players, as we all know, for various reasons, right? Injuries, COVID, and now we've gone through a series of trades. So that as well, but definitely a lot of good things to say about Coach Unseld Jr. Another thing that came up, Brad was talking about being consistent in how they play, and mention again the word identity. What is their identity? Who are they? And I couldn't help to ask myself as I was taking notes and listening to Brad talk, I'm like, well, have they had that conversation? Have they come up with a plan? Have someone asked, like, is it a team building session where everybody can come together and say, who do we want to be when we grow up? Who are we right now? What is our identity? And then you play to that. I don't know. I'm just asking out loud. I don't know if that's transpired, but I know that has been a recurring theme and message for Brad. And then it made me wonder, have they actually had that conversation? If not, they need to. They absolutely need to. Brad said a big focus for him is his 3-point shooting, ball handling. He said, listen, I gotta work on everything. I'm far from perfect, but I definitely gotta work on a lot. Mentioned that being out right now is kind of a blessing in disguise. He said that he doesn't have to rush to a decision. They all know what lies ahead for this summer. And then he mentioned Ted, Shep, and I, we are all good. We know what this summer is. So it's a great position to be in. And hey, let's just be for real. Like you all have heard me share on this show before, Brad holds all the cards. He does. He does. I'm sure it is a great position to be in. He holds all of the cards. So he seems very relaxed, looks happy. Looks like he's a man that's about to get a whole lot of money. That's what he looks like to me. And he's able to be in a position where the owner and general manager engage him on personnel decisions. He basically said that. I mean, he basically said he can help make decisions. I mean, he has say in what happens, and it's important for people to know that. I've mentioned that before on the show, but please let it resonate with you that Brad absolutely is in conversations in which decisions are being made about the personnel on the Washington Wizards. It is important to understand that. It is important to know that, because it's a fact and it's true, and he's telling you with so many words. I'll close with this because I think I've pretty much touched on everything that I have time to touch on in this section. Is from a community perspective. He definitely says since he's out right now, he has more time to be online and see what they're doing in DC, specifically in Ward 8, and says that he hopes that Monumental and the team, with the Wizards, are able to have more of an impact in what happens in Ward 8. Mentioned wanting to stamp what they can leave in the community. And so I think that's important. You all know I always talk sports, talk the game, all of those things. But, I'm always going to tie it back to what's happening in the community and what is being given back to the community, because that is fact. So wanted to share all of that. That is my summary. Those are my key takeaways from 30 minutes of Bradley Beal this afternoon. So, Commanders fans, where are you? Where are you, Commanders fans? Check right on in. Why don't you? How much time do we have? I think we only got about 10 minutes. Woo. Commanders fans, have you checked in? Are y'all there today? Are you there? So, from a Commanders perspective, I think we had a lot to cover. So let me just dive right in to what we have to cover with the Commanders. So the Washington Commanders are planning to exercise defensive end Montez Sweat's 5th-year contract option. That is the plan. The option becomes fully guaranteed once exercise. Deadline is May the 3rd. Ron Rivera had to say, they're working through it. Said Montez is a heck of a football player and a big part of what we do. That is what he had to say about Montez. Also, Ron Rivera had some things to say. And as you all know, and maybe I didn't even say this is NFL Combine Week. So when it's NFL Combine Week, there's a lot of business being done. Let me share this with you all. It's a lot of business happening. It's a lot going on. And it's definitely, the incoming rookies is a tryout. The incoming rookies are showing what they have and the various skill sets, of course, as everyone knows. But what's important to mention is there's a lot of business happening, right? There's meetings with agents, current players. There's interviews that's happening with current staff. So it's not just about the incoming rookies. It's business. Okay? Y'all get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm sharing with you? Okay? So let me get back to the update about the trainers. Ron Rivera shared that they've interviewed 4 trainers. 2 are still at the collegiate level, but they all have prior NFL experience. Here's what Ron Rivera had to say. He said, we have 4 candidates. We've brought them in and talked with them. We've interviewed everybody. We're trying to do this very systematically, and we're trying to find this as the best fit possible for us going forward. All 4 candidates were outstanding. All were recommended to us. My only question there, and of course, you have to pick and choose where you want to say something out loud or not, but I'll share this with you all, is recommended by who? Because I think you would want players to do the recommending. So we shall see. Who comes out on top? You all know, and I've been saying it for a long time, is this what happened with Ryan Vermillion and what happened with the athletic training situation this past season with the Commanders was the biggest story nobody was talking about. Okay? The DEA, now I got to get on my DEA soapbox. The Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, you watch TV, okay? And when everybody comes in there for a bust on like a big time drug dealer, it's the FBI and the DEA. Do you know how much dope you gotta have, or just something bad and illegal for the DEA to run up in your spot? That's a lot of something that you're not supposed to have. And I'm not going to let anybody forget that that's what happened in Ashburn the Friday before the Atlanta Falcons game. Okay? Don't forget it. The biggest story nobody wanted to touch. CWall touched it because all I was trying to say is what nobody's saying. The DEA ran up in Ashburn and then nobody say else nothing about it. Okay. All right. The DEA, don't forget it. The DEA. What type of drugs was that in there? Okay. Combine. So people started telling on themselves, like incoming rookie quarterback Matt Corral started saying, hey, I had an interview with the Commanders at the Combine. Oh, did you, Matt? How'd that go? Everybody knows. Josina Anderson had an in-depth interview with Ron Rivera. And at this point, I'm just going to be honest, y'all. Ron is just telling everything. I'm kind of shocked myself right there. I kind of laughed out loud that Ron is just telling everybody that they need a veteran quarterback. And sometimes it crossed my mind the other day, dang, Taylor Heineke is just not their person. He's just not. And they're just making it more and more apparent every single day. So anybody that is rooting for Taylor Heineke, just stop it right now, because Ron Rivera and others are making it abundantly clear they want somebody else other than Taylor Heineke. It's abundantly clear because he is talking about it everywhere. Now, I think it's important to start to talk through, speaking of the Commanders wanting a veteran quarterback, let's talk through what some of the storylines are, right? Currently, Russell Wilson was asked on a show that he and Sierra were on about straight up coming to the Commanders. Now, let's be clear. Nobody's going to be like, yeah, I'm coming to the Commanders. Yes, I'm going to do that. Nobody's necessarily going to do that. But Seattle's GM has told everybody that has called, because he's absolutely getting calls, that Russell Wilson is unavailable. Pete Carroll says Russell is unavailable. Russell Wilson has also shared, hey, I love Seattle. I'm good. There's that. Dolphins GM said this week that the door is shut on Deshaun Watson. Now, here would be a follow-up question for me. It's shut from the Texans side, or y'all just done with trying to get Deshaun Watson? I'm thinking probably the Texans side. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo is going through some surgery, but it is still likely that he's going to be traded. Highly likely that he's going to be traded to where, to who, we don't know, but he's absolutely soon undergoing some shoulder surgery. Okay, so he's going to be sidelined until the summertime, but it is likely that he's going to be traded. Aaron Rodgers is undecided on what he's going to do. Sounds like Kyler Murray is not happy with the Cardinals, but definitely sounds like the organization wants to work with him, wants him there, and wants to work through this adversity in this current challenge. So we'll see what happens with that. And the Colts clearly are not sold on Carson Wentz from a long-term perspective. What has been a consistent message? I told you all, check in if you all remember me telling you all this. Okay? When the Commanders were on their bye week, who's going to tell the truth? I want to know who's going to tell the truth. I shared with you all. I said, you all, it was Washington football team at the time, correct? During their bye week, I said, the Washington football team tried to make a trade for Mitchell Trubisky. I told y'all. And I also brought in a media colleague's tweet that said exactly what I had said. I said, see? And that was somebody from the other side, from that team's media. Y'all remember when I said that, right? I said it. I told you. So I said all that to say, there's that, okay? Because what else you dealing with? Who else you gonna get? Okay? They tried to get him. It fell through. So there's that. At the end of the day, though, I still think that the Commanders are going to draft a quarterback. I also want to say this, because then I'm going to shut down. And I probably got to bring this up again when we do another show, is Ron Rivera clearly believes that the team is a lot further along than I believe that they are. So we're going to hold that topic for the next show. Okay, until then, you all, Sunday is the 5th anniversary of CWall Sports and Entertainment. Okay, I absolutely love this, y'all. Can't you tell? I love this. This is a blessing. It's nothing else I would rather be doing. So I hope that everyone will be there. If you are able to be there, please be there. I would love to see you. I would love to embrace you. I would love to thank you personally for your support for the last 5 years. At 5 p.m. on Sunday, there will be a huge announcement that I would love for everybody that is, I want you there. I want you there to hear it come directly from me before you see it all over social media. I think it is something, if you are into community, if you are a community activist, is absolutely something that you want to hear and you want to be a part of, because it's huge. And we're going to keep this thing going, and we're going to keep having fun while we're doing it. Okay, so listen, you all. Thank you. Thank you so very much. All right. And for those of you all who have already gotten your ticket, I will see you on Sunday. If you haven't gotten your ticket, you better send me a message, or you better go in there real quick. My event planner would kill me when she hears this, or she's going to when she knows that I told y'all that. But listen, get your ticket, get in there. So if you're going to be there on Sunday, guess what? I will see you Sunday. If not, I will talk to you all again soon.
You're not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From DMV to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall. Delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from a hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am. Through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. CWall, and we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.